Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of D-Class personnel. Go ahead and have a seat. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Commander, and I'm going to be briefing you on the SCP you're about to go study. Now, before we get into it, I don't want anybody to be alarmed about the recent kind of small security breach that we had regarding SCP. No big deal for those of you who looked at it. We got it contained before any ill effects could be determined. I want everybody to keep in mind that we're doing eye exams today. So after this little briefing, I want D-17229-764 through, you know what, just to be sure, I want all of you, even if you've had a recent eye exam, I want all of you to go by Lieutenant Ben Dixon over there in the corner of the room, see, and stand in front of that little target. When you see just one at a time, when you see the light flash, well, you'll know what to do. So what we're looking at today is SCP-5147, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. All inactive SCP-5147 instances are to be separately contained in showcases of double-pane glass. Inactive instances are permitted clothing, but work equipment or utensils on their person are prohibited. All confiscated tools are to be stored in designated storage units. The entrance to the containment chamber with inactive instances is to be guarded by 3 guards at all times. Personnel with level 2 clearance or higher are permitted access to these instances. Active instances of SCP-5147 do not intend to breach containment. Instances may roam the premises of Site-6-3 freely after being equipped with an electronic ankle band and a GPS tracker. A guard may be assigned to an active instance at the discretion of Dr. Roy Havidal. Any task or request given to SCP-5147's instances may not interfere with the Foundation, security risks, and other anomalies who are not classified as safe. Any violation without explicit permission from senior staff results in being permanently blacklisted from SCP-5147. Containment of injured or broken instances needs to be observed by security cameras. If there has not been a visual recovery for 72 hours, the footage is considered outdated and subsequently deleted. Newly broken or recovered instances must be reported immediately. Injuring instances deliberately will also result in being blacklisted and possible termination. Description: SCP-5147 is the collective designation for 41 sentient, hollow, faceless mannequins, numbered SCP-5147-01 to 41. Each instance excels at a particular skill set, ranging from one particular skill to multiple, as long as they are closely related. Instances refer to each other with the names associated with their respective skill sets. For example, the Cook, and refer to their collective as the Mannequin Troupe. Instances are capable of receiving spoken and written requests. Upon acceptance, the individual instance will attempt to complete or provide aid in someone's request in a harmless manner. Requests that are morally unjust or are impossible to fulfill cannot be accepted. Requests are likely to be denied if the person seeking aid has harmed any instances in the past. Upon completion of a request, instances will return to their respective showcases and remain frozen in place, resembling standard, non-anomalous mannequins. Instances are capable of regenerating after approximately 72 hours, regardless of the severity of their injury. Instances do not like requests where they can get hurt easily and will ask for precautionary measures before resuming their original task. Discovery: SCP-5147 was initially recovered on 24/6/2013 from a storage room of an abandoned theater in Krakow, Poland, where they were used as stage props and fitting dolls. Their anomalous properties were discovered during the soft trip of the theater when a demolition crew employee made a comment interpreted as a request. Quote, "Maybe they could lend us a hand with this stuff. We'll be done in no time." Following this, several instances became active and began to assist in the soft strip of the building. One employee attempted to contact authorities twice. This led to Foundation agents being dispatched. Class B amnestics were administered to all involved witnesses following the removal of SCP-5147. The theater was subsequently demolished to make place for a new residential area. Instances did not resist during initial recovery. SCP-5147 was temporarily relocated to the nearest site before permanently being moved to Humanoid Containment Site 06-3 in France. This is the audio interview log 2706-2013. I'll go ahead and read this for you. Interviewed is SCP-5147-32, the vocalist. Interviewer, Dr. Roy Havidal. Forward, the interview took place 3 days after the initial discovery. SCP-5147 had yet to be transferred to the Humanoid Containment Site 06-3. Begin log, Dr. Havidal. Good morning, SCP-5147-32. I'm Dr. Havidal. You can simply call me Doctor. The sound of the doctor scraping his chair can be heard on the tape. The doctor continues. Now, we've brought you here because we have some questions for you. Given that you can speak, we believe that you have the most experience in communication and wish for your cooperation. Do you understand what I'm saying? SCP-5147-32. Yes, doctor, I do. But if you need me to write something down, then I think the scribe would be more helpful to you. Dr. Havidal opens his clipboard and begins to write. Dr. Havidal. Good. Well, the doctor clears his throat. We found a better location to house you. If you give us some information, we can speed up your transfer. I assume you already got tired of the stale room? SCP-5147-32. Oh yeah, but the rest is coming with me, right? Dr. Havidal, after the evaluations are done, we would like to transfer your group together. SCP-5147-32. Sounds good to me. So, Doctor, what's your first question? Dr. Havidal, well, does your group have a purpose, or rather, do you have any goals? SCP-5147-32. A goal? No, I don't think so. We just like to be helpful. I don't even remember having a long-term goal at all. Dr. Havidal, helpful, you say? Huh. What did you previously help with, then? SCP-5147-32. We were stage props in a theater, you know, like background figures and stuff like that, sometimes as clothing dolls like normal mannequins, but we were lucky enough to be displayed sometimes for some exhibitions. Dr. Havidal, I'm sorry, but we're not planning on displaying you anytime soon. SCP-5147-32. Then please let us take some small tasks, please, some requests. We'd like to feel purposeful again. I don't want to spend the rest of my days inactive without consciousness or locked within walls. Dr. Havidal, let's assume we're open for your help. What could you do for us then? SCP-5147-32. We could do anything associated with our skills and experience, of course. We're only having this conversation because of that. I'm the only one that can speak, remember? Dr. Havidal, yes, your ability to speak makes you a unique mannequin, but it's not an ability unique to you. So how did you get these skills in the first place? SCP-5147-32. When the theater lost its last funds and filed for bankruptcy, everybody took the valuable things and left, but we weren't valuable. Mannequins are difficult to rehouse too, so they left us in the dark just to collect dust. We were left there all dressed up for so long that we started our own play. It was quite entertaining, even without an audience. Dr. Havidal, that is interesting. So for the record, if you had fishing equipment on at the time, then you would have become something like a fisherman? SCP-5147-32. I guess we'd probably also refer to that person as the fisherman or something similar. Talk about living up to the name. Dr. Havidal, interesting. Interesting indeed. Kowinski, please give SCP-5147-32 the contents from the second drawer. The guard, Alexander Kowinski, gives SCP-5147-32 a pen and paper. Dr. Havidal, thank you, Kowinski. Now, SCP-5147-32, can you please identify each individual from your group? SCP-5147-32. Of course, give me a moment. Dr. Havidal slides paper over to the desk. You can use this photo. SCP-5147-32. Thank you. SCP-5147-32 begins to write. Dr. Havidal sips from his coffee. SCP-5147-32. Do you want me to write their abilities down too? Dr. Havidal, I'd just like you to name everyone for the time being. We can ask that later. SCP-5147-32. Okay, give me a moment, please. Fast forward the tape. SCP-5147-32 hands over the papers to Dr. Havidal after a few minutes. Dr. Havidal, you identified SCP-5147-17 as the killer. Does he have interests in these aspects? SCP-5147-32. Oh, no, he doesn't. But I also think you're misunderstanding something here, Doctor. Dr. Havidal, and what would that be? A. Kowinski clears his throat. Doctor, may I suggest the addition of extra measures to SCP-5147-17's containment before we continue? Dr. Havidal, yeah. I also want extra surveillance. You can guard him by yourself for the time being. A. Kowinski, I'll have my leave then. Take care, Doctor. Dr. Havidal, I'll make a new schedule and inform the team. We'll have to see what SCP-5147-17 is capable of later. Kowinski leaves. Another guard takes his place. Dr. Havidal, so about this misunderstanding. SCP-5147-32. Yes, just because his name is associated with some horrifying things doesn't mean we don't have morals. Also, I'd like to point out that we were figures and fitting dolls in the past, not some assassins. Dr. Havidal, that makes sense, but you can't be too careful, even if it makes me a stereotypical son of a bitch. What would you do with the killer then, huh? Let him roam free? I know from this conversation that you aren't stupid. SCP-5147-32. I don't know, you could probably make a forensic scientist from him or let him perform autopsies. I guess instead of letting him kill, you can get him to look after the killed. Should be a piece of cake without the stress of leaving fingerprints on fragile material. Dr. Havidal. Maybe a bit far-fetched, but the outcome seems interesting enough to invest in, I think. SCP-5147-32. Sorry for interrupting your work, but do you have more questions for me? To be honest, I'd rather go back now if you're busy with whatever it is you're doing. Dr. Havidal. Oh, excuse me. I sometimes get too engaged with my work. I do have one more question, though. SCP-5147-32. Well, Doctor, let's hear it then. Dr. Havidal. So you have morals like most humans and can give signals of emotional attachment. No involvement. You clearly have a mental capability. SCP-5147-32. I'm glad you realized that. Dr. Havidal. But what about your physical capability, your condition? Can you feel exhaustion? Do you have a sense of pain? SCP-5147-32. I do. I can feel natural pain, but we're definitely not as fragile as normal mannequins. We don't break that easy. I think the feeling of exhaustion isn't completely present in us, but it's not unknown to us, if that makes sense. I can't really answer that part of your question. Dr. Havidal, that is something we can figure out later. Do you happen to know what happens when you break? Has your group lost some numbers before? SCP-5147-32. No, we haven't lost anyone. I don't exactly know what happens when we break. I do know that we can recover from wounds just like you can. Dr. Havidal, so you have some regenerative abilities. I think we need to test that later. SCP-5147-32. I'm not looking forward to that, but I don't have much choice, do I? Dr. Havidal, I'll try to see if there are anesthetics we could use. I'm trying to test your regeneration, not your pain limit, okay? SCP-5147-32. Thank you, I appreciate that. A speaker in the room begins to creak. Leading staff, SCP-5147-32, thank you for cooperating. Dr. Havidal, this suffices for now. Please finish the interview. Dr. Havidal, you've given us some valuable information. I'll see what I can do for the upcoming transfer and tests in the future. Perhaps I should give you a request too if I ever get the chance. SCP-5147-32. I'll be waiting for you when that happens, Doctor. Thank you. End log. Closing statement. SCP-5147's transfer to the Humanoid Containment Site 06-3 was approved by leading staff from both locations. SCP-5147 was able to receive tasks and requests in a testing period of 2 months. Due to the successful outcomes and rise in morale in staff/SCP-5147, this period was prolonged indefinitely. Dr. Hvital did not find compatible anesthetics due to SCP-5147 not having any organ systems. Dr. Hvital did not start researching the regenerative abilities of SCP-5147. Dr. Hvital became permanently assigned to SCP-5147. This is Addendum 1 I'm going to read for you. Unusual requests. All requests that I'm going to read here for you are requests asked for and approved by site staff. It'll make sense once I start reading it. Request 15/7/2013. Cook the staff's dinner. Outcome SCP-5147-03. The cook made pumpkin soup and sandwiches for the staff. Additional notes. SCP-5147-03 can taste with its fingertips when needed. SCP-5147-03 makes lunch twice a week for assigned personnel. Request 30/12/2013. Explain the cause of death. Outcome SCP-5147-17. The killer, or turned into the forensic, was able to identify and prove different causes of death from 10 D-Class individuals. Additional notes. SCP-5147-17 is henceforth known as the forensic. Instances can be reschooled if necessary. Request 24/4/2014. Replicate a house. Outcome SCP-5147-12. The constructor worked together with 26 D-Class individuals. D-6322 threw a brick at its head as assigned by Dr. Chelos, breaking SCP-5147-12, who recovered after 3 days. Additional notes. Dr. Chelos was afterwards unable to get his requests accepted by any instances. While not blacklisted, he suggested relocation due to his inability to interact with SCP-5147. Research for SCP-5147's ability to regenerate was put on hold. Dr. Chelos was relocated to the analysis wing. Request 5/2/2015. Dance. Outcome. Since it was shouted and not directed to a specific instance or a group, a flash mob occurred. Additional notes. SCP-5147 can dance very synchronized, one instance dressed up in reflecting glass like a disco ball. Request 8/11/2015. Remain inactive. Outcome. The requested instances refused to accept the request and went back into their inactive state. Additional notes. Request unsuccessful. Reason: initially denied. Request 21/3/2016. Perform an aria. Outcome. SCP-5147-32. The vocalist performed Di Calaperia from the opera I Travore. Additional notes. SCP-5147-32 has the vocal range of a tenor. After performing the aria a second time on request, SCP-5147-32 sounded a bit hoarse. Request 9/12/2016. None spontaneous. Outcome. SCP-5147-052935. The doctor, the nurse, and the fireman helped personnel when a fire broke out. A request to let SCP-5147 interact with anomalies classified as safe was made. Request approved. Request 27/6/2018. None spontaneous. Outcome. Dr. Roy Hvital got a surprise party for being assigned 5 years to SCP-5147. Additional notes. SCP-5147 requested the staff's help. SCP-5147 gave Dr. Hvital the following custom-made gifts: a watch, a wooden chess set, a barrel of craft whiskey, and a leather-bound book with their experiences with the doctor in 41 unique handwritings. As of 27/6/2018, no remarkable outcomes have been noted. All requests between 24/6/2013, the initial discovery, and 3/2/2022 have been documented by the Foundation. Personnel with clearance level 2 can freely ask SCP-5147-21, the scribe, for copies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was SCP-5147. You are dismissed.